Hola, bienvenidos a todos a un nuevo webinario de la Liverland Center Latinoamérica. Mi nombre es María Martí, soy presidente de la Liverland Center para América Latina, que tiene como objetivo promocionar las ideas de Ayn Rand y del objetivismo en toda la región, teniendo en cuenta que necesitamos un cambio filosófico si queremos generar un buen cambio en nuestras vidas y un cambio en la sociedad, en la política y en la economía. Para aquellos que se suman por primera vez, esto va a ser un webinario en inglés, hago simplemente una introducción en español para dar la bienvenida a la audiencia de Latinoamérica. Para todos aquellos que quieren tener más información sobre lo que hace el centro, pueden visitarnos en nuestra página web, ainrandlatam.org, y pedir dentro de esa página recibir nuestro newsletter mensual, que es el Rand Express. También pueden seguirnos en nuestras redes sociales, en el Liverland Center Latinoamérica, estamos así como en Facebook, en nuestra fanpage, o en Instagram y en Twitter, YouTube como Ayn Rand Latam. Como saben, estamos organizando todas las semanas una serie de webinarios y de Instagram Live. La semana que viene tenemos, el martes que viene volvemos a un webinario en español con María Dolores Arias, que es de Guatemala, que nos va a hablar sobre la moralidad del lucro desde una perspectiva objetivista. María Dolores es comunicadora, emprendedora, productora y conductora de programas de opinión, y tiene también un MBA en la Universidad Francisco Marroquín. Cualquier duda que tengan, cualquier evento que quieran organizar, cualquier curso que quieran organizar para conocer un poco más sobre objetivismo y las ideas de Ayn Rand, pueden escribirnos a estos dos emails, info@ainrandlatam.org o webinars@ainrandlatam.org. En el día de hoy tenemos un webinario muy especial. Yo hice una encuesta en Facebook hace unas semanas atrás, en donde, de acuerdo a las respuestas que la gente escribía, les decía cuál es el país ideal para esas personas. Y no es casualidad, quizás mis contactos todos sean respetuosos de la libertad y de los derechos individuales, pero creo que al 95% de las personas les dio como país ideal Liverland. Y ahí tuve el gusto de que uno de los miembros de mi club objetivista, que se llama Javier Canosa, me dijo: María, tenemos que hacer un webinario para que Jedlička, espero haberlo pronunciado bien, que es el presidente de Liverland, nos cuente de qué se trata. Así que primero le voy a presentar a Javier Canosa, quien lo va también a introducir a Bit, pero básicamente lo que les quiero decir es que todos los que han leído La Rebelión de Atlas, lo primero que me preguntan, no quiero hacer muy spoiler, es ¿dónde nos podemos ir a vivir todas aquellas personas que creemos en la libertad, creemos en la mente, creemos en la gente racional, en la propiedad privada? Bueno, quizás hemos encontrado nuestro lugar. So, first of all, now I'm switching to English. I want to introduce to you to Javier Canosa, who is the one who helped me to organize this webinar, who at the same time is going to introduce Jedlička. So, welcome everybody, and Javier, are you there? I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Gracias. Well, it's a pleasure, and it's an undeserved pleasure to be able to introduce today to Jedlička. Vít is a politician from the Czech Republic who had a dream, and he made this dream come true. After he founded Liverland in April 13, 2015, on the anniversary of the death of Thomas Jefferson, based on the principles of the Mayflower Compact. Bit made this idea a reality. So he's a very nice person and a very smart person. So without further ado, and just before I introduce Bit, I think now in this country more than ever we need the objectivist ideas and the ideas and the idea of Liverland to instill these concepts into our society. So, Beat, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you among us, and we hope this is not the last time we hear you. It's always very entertaining to hear you, so go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Javier. It's a great pleasure to be with you, and thank you, Einrand Institute and Maria for organizing this. As I was pleasantly surprised when I last time checked, we have more than 6,000 potential Liberlanders that applied for citizenship of Argentina. So it's a huge community. I would say Argentina is one of the strongholds of liberty from that perspective. And, and I've been to South America a couple of times, never made it to Argentina. I really hope that I will be able to visit physically also one day. So let me do something.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much for being here. And you know that in the Ayn Rand Center, most of my audience is pretty objectivist, and they are waiting to find a place where to go, a God's couch. So I offer them to hear this talk because maybe Liverland is our place in the future. So thank you for being here, Jed.
Thank you, Maria, again. So what I will do this time will be slightly different. I will present my regular presentation because we have a very nice brochure coming up in the print, and it's also possible to use it as a presentation. So I will go through this new brochure that is presenting most of the projects and ideas which Liberland stands for these days. And if you let me share my screen, I will start with the introduction, and you can see one of the architectural concepts of Liberland. It's a beautiful heart-shaped territory between Croatia and Serbia. It's only 7 square kilometers, but I think that the place is just big enough to basically start the newest and the freest country on the planet, which we have done. I really like this quote, despite the fact that Croatia does not officially recognize Liberland as a country, I really like this quote about Liberland from the Minister of Interior of Croatia, Miro Kovac, who in one of the documents said that Liberland is a provocative idea which has reached serious proportions. And I'm quite happy, that they recognize us in this way. At the beginning, they said we are an internet joke, and I can tell you they don't share that idea by now, and they treat us as a serious nation-building project, and in a way they treat us as our neighbors. And when I hope it will come out soon, probably in a week or two, there will be my TEDx 15-minute explanatory presentation on why Liberland and why now. But I can tell you, I was strongly influenced by Frederick Bastiat, and many of you probably heard about him. If you haven't, among Ayn Rand, I would place him in the top 10 must-read books. And it is amazing that the guy has actually put together all the important information about liberty in a couple of books. And to be honest, I think many of the authors are just building up on his legacy and on his smart ideas. And the book that influenced me the most was The Law. It was the book that clarified for me what's wrong with the societies today. And in this TEDx presentation, I was just comparing two things. I was comparing the negative influence of the laws comparing to the negative influence of global warming. And I was showing different economical models. And it's amazing, of course, that, for example, if you combine the negative influence of the bad laws, over-regulation of European Union over the next 80 years, you will end up with us being 20 times poorer than we would be without these regulations. And that is only 4% a year that these regulations are taking away from our prosperity. But if you combine these 4% over the period of 80 years, you end up with a society 20 times poorer than it would be otherwise. And on the other hand, the IMF expects that the negative influence of global warming in 80 years will be 4% of GDP in total. So it's something which the regulations are able to cause in only 1 year. And I was very much influenced also by my, I'd say, political experience in Czech Republic, in which I understood it at some point it might be much easier to choose the voters than to choose the politicians. Because to be honest with you, the reality is that there is probably 5 to 10% of people that really care about liberty in each country. And many people are just followers. And I'm very happy about some countries where the libertarians or so, people that are close to liberty ideas, were able to make it. But it is very difficult in many other countries, especially the ones that had influence of communism for many years, etc. So at some point I just find out it might be much easier to start a new country than to try to fix the existing one. And we know that sometimes also it is the best to lead by good example. So we decided to start Liberland. We decided to start it on the birthday of Thomas Jefferson, 272nd birthday of Thomas Jefferson. And we really wanted to show that we are able to build up a country based on voluntary taxes. Something which I would say is quite revolutionary, despite the fact that the founding fathers of United States were also considering that some of the taxes could be voluntary. They never really put it in practice. I think it's a time we put this idea into practice. And of course, and I'm happy about all the people that joined Liberland so far. I would say the first minister that is with us, Thomas Walls, is one of those people that are really pushing Liberland forward, and is one of those, I would say, strong libertarians in the US that are pushing the whole movement forward. And he has identified many different opportunities what Liberland can bring to the region and to the world. And when we actually look into how much positive effect could Liberland have on the region, the Balkan region, our economists calculated that we could foster or support the economy of both Croatia and Serbia by more than 1% of GDP growth a year. So in 10 years, it will be more than 10% added to the prosperity of both Croatia and Serbia. And there are many projects which we already launched to make it reality. And so what do you need to have a country? So many people talk about starting its own country, but let's just recapitulate, especially the things that are from the Montevideo Conventions, not too far from you, I guess. You need to have a territory, you need to have a population, you need to have a government, and you need to have a diplomacy. And this whole presentation is going to revolve around these 4 topics. So let's look into territory and Liberland. The territory is exactly 7 square kilometers, 7.2 square kilometers, including all the waters as well. It has been formed only 10 kilometers away from Hungary, between Croatia and Serbia, and it was not claimed by any other country for more than 27 years. It was this very last remaining piece of Yugoslavia, and it is very special because it is basically part of this dispute between Croatia and Serbia, a part which none of the countries in that particular dispute claims. So it is an interesting situation in which if Croatia wants more land, they must not claim Liberland. If Serbia wants to keep its borders as they are, they must not claim Liberland. It's a very special situation. When I saw the opportunity, when I looked into Google Maps, and when I looked into the Wikipedia and all the sources related to this territory, I was just amazed, and I said, that's it, you know, the heart-shaped territory in Balkans, in one of the regions that really needs the prosperity the most, in one of the areas where they are kind of used to creation of new countries, and also an area which is actually historically kind of in a part of my own history, because maybe you don't know, but the legend says that the Czech tribe came from, and I'm originally Czech, came from the territory between Croatia and Serbia before they started the country. This is a cadastral map. You can check it at e/liberland.org just to see how exactly the territory looks like, where it is. By the way, I'm very happy that also OpenStreetMaps also recognize Liberland, so you can easily find it there. And on Google, if you go to the territory and you type Liberland, it will also show you the place. And if you would like to see, they actually also show our borders of Liberland. If you type Bački Monoštor, which is our adjacent municipality, it will show you borders all around Liberland, showing both Croatian version of the border as well as the Serbian version of the border. So we were actually born out of this dispute between the two countries, and I really think we are the best solution to the border dispute that these two countries have. And you have some amazing people helping us to move Liberland forward. We have Patrick Schumacher, the CEO of Zaha Hadid. I would say it's one of the top 3 leading architectural studios in the world. They, for example, just finished the Beijing airport, an amazing structure. And they help us put together the architectural competition. In 2016, we had a very nice architectural competition where you can check so many great designs. Just type in Liberland architectural competition, and you can check amazing designs that more than 80 architectural studios put together. One of them actually being also from Argentina. We do have population as well. Right now, we are registering more than 600,000 people that would like to become citizens or part of our national movement. And we do issue for them first an e-residency card, a way for them to become active members of our business environment, and also for us to know who we are working with. So basically, that's the basic identity document. And then later on, if people get more involved, they also can become citizens and they get a passport. We have just ordered a new batch of regular passports. It is very interesting to see how sometimes well recognized the passport is, despite the fact that we, of course, in many countries around the world still haven't started a negotiation about the recognition of the document. Yet it was a surprise to me to, for example, be able to travel in and out of Brazil with the document when I was there last 2 years ago. And we are trying hard to make the local presence as strong as possible. So this year, despite the coronavirus blockade, we had the Floating Man Festival. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't big because of all the coronavirus restrictions and people not being able to travel. But this is something which you should note. The 13th of August next year, if you want to visit Liberland, that's probably the best time, most fun, most people coming down there. So 13th of April is the anniversary, and 13th of August is the Floating Man Festival. And if you are coming to visit, you know, there are now places where you can stay. You can stay on either Liberty, the smaller boat on the right side, or Bitcoin Freedom will be also ready next year for our visitors. And right now the situation is that it's very difficult for us to build in Liberland because the situation with Croatia is still not stable. So the best way how people can stay is on board of those ships. We are also having a nice development project called Floating Liberland, which is something, if you put floating.ll.land, is a project where you can get your own houseboat and Airbnb it for other visitors that are coming to Liberland. And we have lots of cultural and sport activities going on as well. I think we had already 5 Miss Liberlands representing Liberland in different international competitions. We have a cycling team, by the way, which on 10th of October is organizing a Liberty race, a famous now international race that passes Liberland. So that will be a lot of fun. We have basketball team, we have wrestling team, ice hockey team, and chess team, for example, all doing quite well on international scene. We have lots of media. If you want to stay up to date with what's going on in Liberland, there is Liberland TV, there is Liberland Show by Adam Carswell, there is Gillian Gottsill, the chief editor of Liberland Press, as well as Liberland Radio, liberland.fm. You can play the songs and listen to these shows on the radio as well. So there is plenty of different ways how to get things rolling. None of these media is operated, all of them are private entities and running on its own. So I'm great that this ecosystem is actually working. And we're also serious about business. Right now we are with some arrangements from the Serbian side, operating part of the free zone in Apatin. So right now it's possible for Liberland businesses also to trade in physical goods without VAT, value-added tax, as well as without customs. And in an area where there is cheapest electricity in Europe, cheapest labor, there is a very good price for land as well. And if you combine the fact that, again, you don't have to pay any customs and you don't have to pay any VAT in this zone, and it is very Liberland friendly, meaning that any Liberland company can utilize these services free of charge. It's a very good start for a business hub in the region. We also have a government. That's one of the things that needs to be mentioned. That's my wife, Jana. She's not official part of the government, but she's first lady and also co-founder of the Liberland. So she was there with me at the very beginning. She's now more taking care of the kids than taking care of the government part. But one of the things that needs to be noted that this new brochure was prepared by her. So she's still playing an active role in the development of Liberland. We've got two vice presidents, Pierre-Louis Boitel, a banker, and Boguslav Wozniak, an American businessman, but also strong lobbyist, who is helping us quite a lot in contacts with the US Congress. And Alec, by the way, that's one of the very strong and powerful organizations that is basically like a summer school for US congressmen and senators. So I'm happy that we have got these two gentlemen on board. We've got Tariq Abbasi, who is also representative of British Queen. So that opens up a lot of doors. And Thomas Walls, who is our foreign minister, former US diplomat with lots of experience in the region because he was there when the Daytona agreements were being arranged in Balkans. And we also have a Minister of Interior, great guy, a very good business developer who is working now with us on the whole e-governance system. I hope we will be able to launch it in early 2021. We're trying to put together the latest technologies from the blockchain area in order to make a well-balanced system of governance for Liberland. And let me just explain you very briefly how that will work. We will have Congress with 21 congressmen, and those will be the ones that will form the government. And they will not be elected in a traditional way, one person, one vote. They will be elected with the version of one merit, one vote. And that means basically people will be paying directly with their own taxes, the people in Congress. So it's possible that some people will have more votes because they have simply paid a little bit more taxes than some other people. And I think it's fair. I think it's much fairer than the fact that the person that steals $20 million from others and is in jail has the same vote as somebody that just paid $20 million in taxes. So I'm trying to put together more fair and more balanced system. And we will also have Senate. It will be more like House of Lords thing in Liberland with a veto power only. But it will be some place where the people that have played a vital role in the development have their permanent seat, and they will be able to correct some mistakes that the Congress could take over the time. And the similar role have a public veto. So one person, one vote will be able to get down any law or any regulations that they don't see fit. And this is something from Switzerland, a very important lesson to be learned, that people are actually quite good, not in putting together new laws through referendum. They don't really do that good job, but they're very good in getting rid of the nonsense that the government can put together sometimes. So we took these, I would say, a little bit of lesson from United States in terms of republic, some lesson from Switzerland, and some lessons about meritocracy from Singapore and from corporate world, and combine it together to form this completely new form of governance. And without diplomacy, of course, we wouldn't be able. We are now active in more than 100 countries around the world and pushing for recognition of Liberland. And I would say one of the most important story is the charity work, where we're basically being recognized for being helpful. One of the first countries where Liberland got recognized was Somaliland. It is a very interesting story. And if you haven't heard about Somaliland, please Google it. It's a territory bigger than United Kingdom with 5 million people living in there. But yet, until very recently, it was not recognized by any UN country. Now, Taiwan has recently recognized Somaliland and built its own representative office. So I'm happy that after Liberland, Taiwan also became one of the countries that support the fully independent sovereign country of Somaliland, which has been, by the way, doing much better job than Somalia is doing. So we were quite helpful there with some humanitarian aid. We helped now Croatia during the coronavirus. And we're trying hard to build up different types of societies, including, for example, being recognized by Rotary International, which is a strong lobbyist organization that can help us on many fronts. And I would say the strongest arm of our humanitarian activities is Liberland Aid Foundation. It is also active in South America, by the way. As you can see, there are some things that they have recently done in Brazil, as well on the picture up there. It is one of the things where anybody can get involved. You know, if you're already sending aid to some specific area, for example, you can now do it through Liberland Aid Foundation. There are multiple ways how you can get involved with them. And as any country, we also have a order of merit, a way to recognize people that have seriously either helped liberty globally, or they have systematically helped Liberland and pushed it forward. So I'm happy that people like Daniel Hannan, if you know him, or Nigel Farage, or Congressman Thomas Garrett, or Congressman Ron Paul, of course, the famous one, or even a senator from Italy, Sabrina Riccardi, or member of Croatian Parliament, Ivan Pernar, or for example, the famous Steve Forbes, have gotten these awards, and they are still keep on pushing and helping with Liberland to get forward. Right now, as I told you, we have representative offices in more than 100 countries around the world. Some of them are nicer than some others. I'm especially proud about our representative office in Brussels, which is a very nice small castle which we can use for meetings. And of course, Brussels is an important place for diplomacy, not just because there is the seat of EU institution, but it's a global diplomatic hub where we are more and more active. We have also office in Prague. This is actually very close to from where I am right now, as I have some business and diplomatic activities. And that's the one, the picture on the right. And we have now, again, some 100 overseas mission, and I'm very proud of the people that are helping Liberland forward. So just to name the few, for example, in Belgium, a very strong in EU institution, Jonas Lundqvist, who had done a great job on introducing us. Here in Czech Republic, for example, Hans Weber, famous organizer of diplomatic forums, that is helping us with the recognition on different Czech embassies. I'll just name a few people. Koljaš Pori, also famous author, and one of the persons that visited all the countries around the world. He made a nice visit to Liberland with his fellow club members. They all visited all countries of the world. Probably like 25 people came, plus they visited Liberland as well. It was a very nice event 2 years ago. Here, for example, let me just mention Carmine Spinelli, who is running our representative office in Rome. But it's actually not in Rome itself, it's in Vatican. And it's extremely powerful organization of gentlemen that are helping us to push recognition in Italy. Again, we actually, because of them, we had a presentation in front of the Italian Senate. So very important event there. Monaco, Romain Gerardin is a good friend and a very strong supporter. He's got connections with multiple heads of states through which he is helping us to move forward. Milan Seman is the UN diplomat, so he's our connection to UN. Mariana Sadecká, she's one of the founders of Paralelní polis, which is a very ideologically, if you haven't heard about Paralelní polis, please Google it. It's a different approach to the same problem. It's about forming parallel societies in the existing countries. And it's a very successful project, especially in Czech Republic, but now it's spreading all around the world. It is basically like a hacker space for people that are supporting cryptocurrency, supporting freedom. Daniel Dabek, our representative in Serbia, is also behind SafeX, a very nice technology which is built on Monero, but it's not just payment, but it's also for trading. It's kind of a new generation of completely decentralized eBay. Mr. Holson, our representative to Bahamas and Bermuda, he is owner of one of the biggest insurance companies in the United States. He's a strong arm of Liberland diplomacy in the United States as well. So we've got some really amazing people. For example, Luis O'Connor is developing a village called Agrorismo in Panama. Or maybe you have heard about Jeff Berwick. He is organizing Anarchopulco, the yearly biggest festival of anarcho-capitalists, which you probably should not miss if you want to have a lot of fun next summer and get to learn a lot of great people and some great ideas. Very strong representation in the United States. We couldn't even name all the people that are helping us to move forward that are there. And of course, Javier Canosa, who is representing us in Argentina, is with us from almost very beginning. I'm happy that he invited me for a very nice event in Mexico 2 years ago where we could meet in person. So it is a strong team that we have now. South America, you can see that Brazil is covered, Chile is covered. But I really wish that we could utilize the power that we have in South America in a greater way, because there is, I think, more than 70,000 people that apply from South America that are pushing Liberland forward. We've got Ecuador covered, Paraguay covered, Venezuela as well, and I hope Irving will be the one that will be basically part of the future government in Venezuela, and we will be able to do some great things and inspire the new leadership in Venezuela to make some critical changes. Maybe, just to mention Hong Kong, because that, of course, is the stronghold of freedom. I was there at the beginning of this year. We opened up the office. Actually, we have 2 permanent in Hong Kong. And He Thurm Huang is one of the, I would say, top 10 successful business leaders in the blockchain world. His project Measurable AI and its token is doing great. He is providing some great technology for traders and for hedge funds. An amazing person, really, that we have on board. As well as newly, we have a new representative in India, Andrea. She's one of the best motivational speakers that we have, but she's also very well connected in India. And thanks to her, I think we will move a lot of things forward. Ville, for example, our representative in Singapore, is organizing the registration of businesses in Liberland, just to give you some ideas. Ernst Lee is helping us with the blockchain development side. So all of these people are not just representing us in each country, but they're mostly involved with some projects that are happening right now in some other areas of the Liberland development. And in Africa, because of Olivia, we are very well connected to, I would say, more than half of the heads of states in Africa, and they're a great team of representatives for Africa. In each country, there is something going on, and I can tell you that is the best source of recognition for Liberland, right? Because we are having so many good friends on the highest places in Africa. And I hope we will also have some ideological influence on their development. would really like to give all these people credit, give a lot of credit, for example, to the lady that is representing us in Somaliland. She's also head of the presidential protocol, but she has done an amazing job in introducing us there and making sure we are established in the country. A couple more countries. I hope to actually visit South Africa fairly soon. There is a very interesting project, kind of autonomous region and a corporate city that I would like to visit and to get a little bit more inspiration. So that's it. That's it from me. I hope I gave you some brief idea on where Liberland stands now. I really wish you decided to become active part of Liberland, and I really wish we could have you on board as citizens, or at least as e-residents in near. And I really wish that we can get some great projects going in the South America or Central America, in that region. A lot of promising projects are developing. Very supportive of forming libertarian or Liberlandian villages around the world. We already have 3 in South America and Central America right now. So whatever project is there, I'm very happy to support it. The community of Liberlanders, as I told you, in South America is more than 70,000. So there is a great potential. We just need to put people together in the right way.
Okay, Vit, thank you very much for this great presentation. I just want to travel right now and go to Liverland to see what is there. It looks very, very attractive. And the way that we're going to follow this webinar, I want to invite the people to write their questions in the Q&A. And I also wanted to invite Javier Canosa again and Eduardo Martí, if you want to show up to ask some questions to Vit. Are you there? Maybe Vit, if you can stop showing. Okay, perfect. Eduardo, are you there? Yes. Okay, so here are the future Liverland is here. But I will start with one question for you, Vit. You know, that's Ayn Rand Center. I support the ideas of Ayn Rand, and we'll try to promote her ideas. And Rand supported the idea of a small government, which has only one role, which is the protections of individual rights. So my question is, how do you see the role of the government in Liverland?
Well, that's very much in line in what we are trying to put together. The security, and it should be internal and external security. Basically, the external security done through diplomacy and justice. I still don't see a good way to resolve justice without having some sort of central authority. So Liberland will take an active role in establishing set of rules and courts to settle out disputes between the citizens. And of course, people are free to choose any other law, but if something will happen on Liberland territory, people will be bound to one set of rules for murder, for theft, etc. And we need to be able to enforce these things. It's one of the basic roles of the government. But I'm very much in line with Ayn Rand's approach that this is what the government should do. And I think we can be quite innovative even in that. You know, the disciple of Frederic Bastiat, Molinari, was actually pushing forward for even privatization of police and privatization of army. We're trying to come up with a project of Uberizing police and introducing competition even to the system of courts. So new courts could be created, and if the Congress will decide it will accept that court, then there could be competition between different types of courts, but they will be all under the Liberland jurisdiction.
Thank you, Vit. Eduardo and Javier, thank you for being here too. So Vit is all yours.
Well, hello, Vit. I think I had the chance to talk to you I think 3 or 4 years ago, and I want to congratulate you again to give us hope about the future of humanity, because probably in 200 years from now, all the world will be similar to Liverland. But right now, you are probably our only hope, or at least to have the kind of society we think we deserve to live. So thank you very much for your efforts. And I could like, if you could develop a little bit more the current status of Liverland. I have two or three questions for you. The first one is, your land is a land between Croatia and Serbia, and you have been fighting to get recognition for Liverland to that land from the government of Croatia and the government of Serbia, and of course the rest of the world. But the main opponents and people just disputing that land, they are Croatia and Serbia. So my first questions would be, I think you are not allowed to build there or to sell land or just to dispose of the property. So what is the current status now of the land? The second question is, let me give you, the other question is there anything as people who love Liverland around the world, anything we can do to help to put pressure or to obtain resources to push those governments to finally recognize the country of Liverland and to allow us to move there or to do things there? Those two questions first. Thank you, Bit.
Thank you for the questions. And let me just correct you in one thing. When Liverland was established, the Serbian government, Serbian foreign ministry actually officially stated they don't mind creation of Liverland and it was not formed on their territory. So we have a direct statement from Serbia, which according to Croatia is the owner of this piece of land. So in a way, we actually don't have dispute with anybody. The former owner or the former sovereign entity of this particular piece of land does not have any problem with us forming the sovereign country. So from that point of view, we are in a very special situation. And it was not just some sort of statement. It really came out directly from the foreign ministry, and it came to the journalists that were asking about this. And so far, we have excellent relations on the Serbian side. They are not going to do something with Croatians for us in a sense that, of course, they see it as our own problem that we have with Croatia. And with Croatia, we actually don't have any problem as well because they don't claim this piece of land. And so far they are protecting it from anybody, including us. But to be honest, we are maybe still not in that stage where we can fully take control of this territory and start developing. We have another round of architectural competition coming up, which will be much more concrete in the ways we want to develop it. And I hope we will be able to launch the Congress and the whole governance system during the early 2021. So when we have these elements in place, we will actually have a stable system of governance and a very clear idea what we want to build in Liverland. And it took some time to put these things together. So I'm quite happy about Croatia, basically making sure that nobody comes to Liverland, including Croatians, who are sometimes disappointed because before Liverland started, they could visit Liverland, and it's again one of the most beautiful places on Danube with lots of sandy beaches. So right now they're sometimes a bit sad that they can no longer visit Liverland, but it's also another form of recognition where Croatia basically uses its own police force to prevent Croatians from coming to Liverland because they recognize it's a separate country. But right now, as you said, it's difficult to build. I'm visiting Liverland quite often because if you come from the riverside, usually we don't encounter any resistance. But if we started to build something there, I can expect that something similar would happen like it happened to the building that they bulldozed it. So we need to make a little bit more progress on the diplomatic side with Croatia. And I hope we'll be able to show them again and present them all the benefits that the creation of Liverland will have to their economy and to their people. And I hope they will be much more collaborative over the next year.
did you have the chance to meet with any authority in Croatia lately, or are you open to that?
Right now, it's not too long ago when Croatia had an elections, and right now I figure out a way how, despite some blockade, to visit Croatia as well. And I'm planning to make like a lobbying tour around Croatia fairly soon. Our ministers have met multiple ministers, including, for example, this Minister of Interior. There was a brief meeting between him and our foreign minister, and we had a debate about the future. So yes, I was invited actually to meet the President of Croatia when she was in the United States last year. And I was invited by the diaspora movement, but at the end, the secret services didn't allow for the meeting to happen. You know, there is lots of goodwill on the Croatian side as well, but somehow Croatia internally is split about Liberland issue, and it's still, I would say, too controversial for them to tackle it officially, but I hope that will change in the near future.
Thank you very much. Could you elaborate just a little bit about also your partners in Central America, the initiatives, the different initiatives that took place there, or they are just moving forward?
Well, first of all, I'm happy that we have so many countries covered by representative offices, and we actually have a couple of recognitions coming from this region already on the highest state level on the paper. But to be honest, you know, I'm not in the situation when I can make these relations with the foreign governments and recognitions public yet. We're trying to build up a pile of these recognitions so that we don't put our partners or the foreign governments under pressure from Croatian diplomacy, because there has been multiple attempts to kind of sabotage our diplomatic progress in the past. So we're putting all of these recognitions in the shelf, and we will release them once there will be a significant amount of them, significant enough so that we can become also members of the United Nations, at least the observatory status. And again, there has been multiple activities done in Central and South America on the level of humanitarian aid, which is helping us quite a lot to push our agenda, because people can see we are not just talkers, we are also doers, and we are able to help in the places that are in need.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The last question, you are currently living in Czech Republic, right?
Well, I'm trying to live as much as I can in Liberland on one of these houseboats. So I spend most of the summer over there, over in Liberland. And right now I had some business in Czech Republic. So our biggest office is still in Prague, but we're moving more and more to the Liberland, but mostly to the riverside. And so it's a little bit of, you know, it's the fun part where we are kind of seasteading the Liberland area, and people are gathering there on these sandy beaches to spend the summer there, and trying to make it as comfortable as possible.
Thank you very much.
Diet, well, I want to thank you because it's very late for you, and it's almost 12 o'clock, and you are always so very much open to tell us about Liverland and explain. I will make two questions, one that someone from Venezuela just asked, and one more, you know, about current matters. So this person, Juan Carlos Eurea from Venezuela, is asking, he says, in the end, it's a physical dispute. You know, the fight is not only about ideas, but it can also be physical. In Venezuela, he said the problem is that the opposition cannot have weapons. And I have to say, I go to Cuba every year, and it's the same in Cuba. They don't have the Second Amendment, so the weapons are monopolized by the government. So this friend from Venezuela is asking, how do you face the challenge of foreign threats? you know, and domestic threats. I think you more or less answered that when you said that all your concern was domestic security and foreign security. So that is one question, Pete. I don't know if that is clear enough.
Yeah, let me answer it by part, actually.
Go ahead.
For example, Costa Rica doesn't have any army, and they are quite fine. And Monaco also doesn't have any army. It basically relies on the protection from France. And there is a beautiful movie about that, by the way, Prince Grace, that I recommend you, if you haven't seen that, how she, as a former actor from Hollywood, have managed to save the Monaco from the foreign invasion just through diplomacy and through her Red Cross activities. It's amazing movie. Have you seen that, by the way, Javier? Or Maria? No, I recommend you. It's a beautiful movie. It will make you cry. So you can see how
this is very, very interesting.
Yeah, and of course Liechtenstein is relying on the support from Switzerland. So we know these arrangements are possible. We will probably have to have a protection agreement with Croatia and Serbia. So it is one of these things that is on our agenda. But on the other hand, you know, we want to allow our Liberland citizens to be armed as much as the Liberland police is armed. So that's one of the rules that we have in the Constitution. So, by the way, I'm also myself getting an arms license next Tuesday. So wish me good luck in that. I wanted to get a little bit more educated in this area. I think it's very important. So that's one thing. And like, where do we stand? Again, right now we are in this phase when we are trying to put things together the way we see them fit. And the Constitution, for example, I would say it's 90% finished. But the challenge is how to turn this Constitution into the blockchain environment, which is the next phase of human evolution. You know, the trustless, kind of transparent way how to run things. So I can tell you tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and another day full of calls regarding how to get things up and running. I'm happy we've got all these experts from EOS, for example, if you heard about that, and the people from Bitcoin.com helping us. So many like big names that are directly involved with what we are doing, and it's true that hasn't been done yet. You know, many projects are about governance, but not a single, and many countries are talking about blockchain, but nobody, we are probably the only nation state that is actively involved in trying to put whole of its agenda on blockchain. So that what makes us quite attractive in the area. And I hope we will succeed over the beginning of early next year.
And I remember when we met in Mexico, you had your Liverland passport stamped with a US customs stamp. And if you could tell us how you got that and how did you get that stamp?
Well, it was one of those special situations which probably doesn't repeat too often, but I was basically the only president that was coming to the inauguration of Donald Trump. And it was in the news when I was coming there. So when I showed my passport at the customs and the article in the Washington Post, there was not a big deal. But just to be completely clear, at the same time, like they stamped my passport, I was also legally allowed to enter through my other passport. So it wasn't, you know, but on the other hand, I believe at the time they would probably let me just with Liverland passport, and they were very happy to stamp it. It
was, yeah, very interesting. And Pete, you mentioned Donald Trump. What is your opinion of Trump?
Well, you know, I think in many ways I am quite enthusiastic about many things, but I'm a little bit afraid, you know, that, for example, you know, this narrative about getting rid of the 2 regulations for every regulation involved. You know, if you the words are great, and but reality sometimes is a bit tough, and I don't really envy him his role, and I see that he's not entirely part of establishment, that he's really upsetting a lot of people behind the scenes in what he's doing. So from that position, I'm his fan. I just wish, you know, he was able to realize more of his words in reality, but I know it's tough. And by the way, Trump himself, like 7 years ago, was considering starting his own country, but at the end he backed off and decided to take over the United States. But I'm just wondering, you know, if he might not want to reconsider at some stage.
Pete, we have one question from the audience here. Have you considered other territories for the funding of Liverland?
Well, yes, before Liverland started, I was inspired by this project that was done in Birtaville. One of the Birtaville is also a special territory between Egypt and Sudan, but of course it's much tougher than somewhere on Balkans. You can actually get shot if you don't have all the permits for going there from Egypt. But it's a different situation. It's a situation in which, you know, unlike in Liberland, where one country already claims it is Liberland and the other says it's Serbia, here basically both countries claim it belongs to the other country. So it's also a special situation, but I would say more difficult also in terms of the legal situation. And there are many other spots, you know, that could be considered. I believe there is actually one place which is at the crossroads of the three countries. You probably know about it. One of the countries is also Argentina. I get contacted, I would say, every 3 weeks about coming down to your region and starting the country there. I think it would be really fun to make a permanent building on that spot. It's like 5 times smaller than Liberland. It's an island on the river between Brazil, Argentina, and it is one of those special spots which is in limbo legally, I think, for 30 years now. But you know, to be honest, you know, step by step, I would say, and I'm quite happy with Liberland, and we want to develop it first.
So it would be very nice to have a Liverland close to Argentina. So we will need it very soon. So what are the steps to apply for citizenship? Is it hard? What are your advice to start the process of becoming citizens of Liverland?
Right now, if you register on liberland.org, basically you have an option to become a resident, and it's like a first step for the citizenship. It is a way how to get to know how our internal ecosystem works, and it's also a way for us to get to know the people that are applying a little bit better and try to get them involved with our activities. So there are a couple of people that are constantly in touch with the new applicants for citizenship, trying to really show them what they could do, where they could be helpful to the ecosystem. And when we manage to get the people involved, that's the fast track for citizenship, basically. So we want people to become active part of the community. You know, if you're playing chess for Liberland, that's great. If you're helping with programming, that's great. If you have some friends that are diplomats and you make the right introduction, that's great. So that's the best way how to become citizen. And we have this system of merits, so we're trying to evaluate the value that people are putting inside of Liberland. So for e-residency, it's basically just 50 merits, and for citizenship, we have this benchmark of 5,000 merits, some proportion contribution to the creation of the country. And again, it can be gathered either through, of course, financial help to Liberland, but it can also be gathered through any other ways of support.
Okay, so we have 5 more minutes. I have one more question here from Franco. With taxation being voluntarily in Liverland, what would be the situation of those who decide not to pay taxes? Would they still be able to benefit from the state services, the courts, the police?
Well, there will be probably charges for using the courts. There will, you know, right now, if people are gathering 5,000 merits, for example, that means they basically in some sort of or some way they have given the taxes in roughly the value of $5,000 to Liberland. They will be also able to basically get it back in a sense that if they start to collect some sort of welfare from the state, it will be subtracted from their merit account. And people that will do that, that will kind of become negative in the sense of how much energy they give to Liberland, they will not be able to vote. So people that will not contribute to the country, they will lose their voting right. They will be not the ones that will make the future decisions of who is going to represent Liberland. But a part of that, and it will be probably visible, like it will be possible to see what is the standing of the citizen with the government. And it will also show, it will be representing your reputation in the system. So people will be less likely to do business with you if they will see that you're not an active part of the society. So that's probably my answer to this. It is more about prestige, and it should be prestigious for Liberlanders to support its own government. And I think if we need to build a bridge or something, everybody will be happy to have its own name on the bridge or on some project which will be there for common good. And I think, of course, the more privately also these development projects will be done, the better. But sometimes I believe some projects will have to be done in some sort of public-private partnership way, as they are strategically important for defense of the country or for diplomacy of the country. But then we want to form this strategic partnership where part of the project will be financed by the state and part of the project will be financed by investors, and the whole thing should be generating some money through tolls or through other means. So again, the taxes will be completely voluntary. There might be some fee connected to some services the government provides. Probably the courts will not be entirely for free, just like they're actually not in any other country.
Someone who is, I hear some noise behind you. Maybe if Eduardo or Javier can mute yourself a little bit. Okay, sorry, but go ahead.
So again, there will be fees for different things. And for example, this Uberized police could also potentially charge something for its services to be able to pay itself. But the basic level of service from the state in terms of securing the area and making justice available for Liberlanders will be there. You know, merits also will be a sort of your collateral. So if you do something bad to somebody, merits could be a way to compensate for that. So that's another way how we are trying to make sure there will be enough leverage for Liberlanders to live in a free but also in a just society.
Okay. So someone is asking, what's the name of the Liechtenstein movie? I think you said the Prince Grace?
Prince Grace, I believe it's so, but it's not Liechtenstein, it's Monaco.
No, it's about Monaco, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Liechtenstein is also a great country. You know, there are some great books. I would just recommend you The State for Third Millennium by Prince Hans Adam. It's a must read about a nation state, and he is probably the only ruling libertarian in the world right now. So it's very inspirative to read from him. And I can tell you, it was a lot of fun when I met him for the first time. He said he's looking forward to sit in the UN next to each other because we are close in alphabet, Liberland and Liechtenstein, and he wished us the good luck with the development of Liberland. By the way, Czech Republic did not recognize Liechtenstein until 10 years ago. Just a fun fact. Just that you see that the recognition sometimes is tough even for established countries.
I see. Javier or Eduardo, do you have any more questions for Bit?
No, Bit, I think it's already too late for you. Once again, thank you. It's always good to receive your energy, your thoughts, your ideas. And I leave you, Mary and Eduardo, and we hope to have you back. I will ask, I will speak later with Maria. We've been speaking about this, but we will discuss the details soon. but there will be news, hopefully, for Liverland in Argentina. And Mary and Edu, it's up to you to close.
I have one more question. Sorry, Eduardo, and you will be last. How do you imagine Liverland in 10, 20, 30 years from now? What is your dream?
I would like Liverland to be kind of a new crypto Hong Kong for Europe. I believe, you know, that's our future. And I would really like, you know, not to have the 500,000 citizens, but also have maybe 20, 30 million e-residents that will be active in Liverland environment. That would be great. You know, we don't have to have everybody living in Liverland. We just need enough businesses incorporated in Liverland, and people can be anywhere around the world, and yet they can still be active part of the Liverland virtual business environment. So I hope we will create attractive environment enough to attract all of these companies to build the headquarters in Liverland. And we're also building a virtual Liverland, by the way, a place where the architectural ideas could be manifested before they happen, but also a place where anything can be done in the virtual reality. So many different and interesting projects. Again, if you send the application, we will do our best to hook you up with the most interesting people that are pushing Liverland forward in different areas.
Eduardo?
I don't have any doubt that you will be attracting the best minds in this world. And I want to let you know that we will do our best and our best efforts to help you to build that dream and to transform it into reality. We will be alert. We will use our networks. We will exert as much energy and pressure we can to allow you to build that dream. I think it's a beautiful dream. It's probably the future of the world. So congratulations again. Take care of yourself. Take care of your wife, of your beautiful wife. And let's see if we can do anything just to push at least a little bit this dream forward. Thank you very much again, Pete.
Thank you very much, Eduardo, and hoping to meet you in person, everybody. Okay.
I hope.
Thank you very much, Pete. I hope to be able to create my objectivist Einrand Center Liverland too.
Maybe you will be surprised, but I think there is already like 15 of them on Facebook. It's amazing. There are probably like 8 different objectivist parties on Facebook at least created. But it would be great to get things rolling. By the way, the Liverland University is taking off. It's something which will be mostly online, but the exams will be in Liverland. So it would be great if you help me or me, it's not my project really, it's a project of professors from Europe mostly, but to have your ideological involvement on that front, and if the Objectivist Institute of Liverland was part of the deal, that would be sweet.
Of course, we will work on that. And thank you very much for that offer.
Mary, I would like to tell our audience that Pete in person is such an energetic character, such a good energy, and his conferences are so interesting. And I was in one where the audience wanted to push him, to provoke him. And he answers every provocation with much intelligence. And in such a cool way. And I remember one question they asked him, what's Liverland's language? And he said, you've been speaking Liverlandian for the past 30 minutes. You remember me? That was very good.
Good answer.
That was very good.
So thank you, Vic, for thinking big. We need people like you. So thank you very much for this space. Thank you, Javier, for helping me to organize this. Eduardo, for your smart questions, and I hope to be able to visit Liverland in the very near future. So congratulations and thank you very much again. I hope to have you again soon.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye everybody. Gracias por estar aquí, toda la audiencia. Nos vemos pronto, el martes que viene. Bye bye.